Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Advance figure preview video. Now the reason why we're not branding this as just a regular figure preview video is because unfortunately at the summer showcase they didn't have the Andrew Garfield head nor any of the accessories on display. So when they move this figure to Secret Base, we will do an updated video and showcase all of those smaller pieces. Now I do have to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person and snapping these gorgeous high-res pics. Show Ryan some love in the comments below, cause without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. If you are looking to pre-order your very own Amazing Spider-Man, he is available with toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. Most figures aren't without their controversies, but one of the most interesting ones has been this one right here. As you can see, it's quite clearly branded as Amazing Spider-Man 2. The shape, size, and print of the red background with the Spidey logo on the surface is the same as the No Way Home releases, but up front it says The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Amazing Spider-Man on the nameplate. Some people have questioned, well, why is that the case? Simply brand this as No Way Home and all the display bases are going to match. But with this guy, they simply aren't going to. It could have been a licensing thing, but all of the No Way Home specific accessories do come with the Lizard diorama display base. And yes, the figure preview video for him is coming up very soon. Now, the body choice here does look to be exactly the same as the original. I like the body, it's slim and lanky but muscular at the same time. But one thing that I didn't love were the ankles. Underneath the fabric suit they had these rubber gasket pieces to keep everything nice and smooth, but at the same time it didn't allow for any articulation, and his boots looked really big and chonky. The boots do still look big and chonky here, but you can clearly see those ankles are flexed backwards. That means you do have instantly more articulation than the original figure. So for that, yeah, I'm pretty darn happy. The blue sections for the suit look almost identical, except for the saturation. They do seem to be a little bit more vibrant, which means this guy is absolutely going to pop in the display. The texture on the surface looks great. You've got these mini little oval sections that come together to make up this hex pattern. It's absolutely stunning. And because it does have a slight gloss to it, when the light hits it, yeah, you can see all of that texture. The red sections, just like the OG, are all fabric with screen-printed web lines, and the big honkin' Amazing Spidey logo on his chest. That is slightly darker than the web lines, whereas before it was almost the exact same color. I dig the darker and sharper contrast here. It absolutely helps it stand out that little bit more. You can also see the dynamic waist clamp, as to be expected, but as always, be a little bit more careful because you don't want that waist clamp digging into the suit over time. As I said earlier, they did use the exact same body here, but I'm not mad at that. I really liked it with the original and I love it here too. The articulation was more than serviceable. This guy can pull off some truly crazy Spidey poses. And the proportions look on point, at least for me. He's a little bit slimmer, you can still see some ab definition when he's standing straight up and down, not crunched forward like he is here, but it's not overdone. This very clearly is still Andrew Garfield in the Spidey suit. Now, one of the biggest changes that I am really happy about is they've done away with the weird seamless hand/wrist experiment that they kicked off with the first version. Now, back with that one, they kind of continued the fabric of the suit all the way up into the hand. It was kind of glued up underneath, and instead of swapping out the entire hand, you simply swapped out the fingers. That meant that yes, there was no wrist peg area. Go ahead and check out the review for the 1.0 if you don't quite know what I'm talking about. It was a really interesting experiment with the magnetic fingers, but I'm glad they didn't continue with that. Swapping out the hand is simply the best way to do it. You can also see the web shooters attached to the suit around the wrist area. I'm hoping that you can rotate them round to have them aligned with the hands, but that was an issue with the original as well. Now, instead of having those ring disc sections that you plug the web onto, this time they have the swap out palm piece, just like we've seen with the Tom Holland Spidey figures. And I love that, just like swapping out the hands. I prefer that far more than what we got with the original. Now, the head shape does look to be slightly different. I could be going crazy, but this looks a little bit closer to the screen-used face shell. It's slightly taller and a little bit slimmer. I also like the stark white for the lenses. You can still see all the perforations, they're suitably glossy. I like the black outline, but this time the contrast is just that much more stark. They look really good, I have no complaints here. Now, I'm hoping that they did fix the issue where the fabric of the mask was glued onto the top of his head and there was this really obvious and really ugly stain that started to appear as the glue decided, yeah, it's time to change color. This time, please Hot Toys, don't use that same glue, do this in a completely different way. I am pleased to report though that the seam line is almost non-existent. I don't really see one up on the top of his head, and you still have some really good chin definition, which, if you'll remember, was a huge issue with the Sam Raimi Spidey. This one doesn't appear to have that issue. You also swap out the entire neck and head sculpt as one piece, so when you pop the Andrew Garfield head on, you get a little bit of a skin tone neck, which is something we've been asking for years. But it's not really anything new here because the original had that same gimmick, except they decided, no, we're not going to give you an Andrew Garfield head sculpt, so you could remove the head sculpt at the neck, but not actually pop anything on there unless you had the Amazing Spider-Man 1 figure. Now, don't forget, we will be redoing this figure preview video when he's on display at Secret Base and discussing that Andrew Garfield Peter Parker head sculpt in much more detail. But as it stands, if you have the original, do I see this one as an upgrade? Yeah, I absolutely do. And let's very quickly go through why. Say you have the 1.0 and you're sitting here thinking, oh, do I really need this? Well, number one, you now should be able to have Spidey standing because it looks like they fixed the ankles. Number two, the suit is a little bit more saturated and vibrant. You also have the much brighter white eye lenses. You also have the new Andrew Garfield head sculpt. They've done away with the weird magnetic hands, and you do get a brand new web effect. Plus, the way the web's attached to the hands is also completely different. That, coupled with the fact that hopefully that weird glue stain on his head is completely resolved. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons to keep your eye on this figure and potentially replace your original with him. Now, if you are looking to pre-order, the link for that is in the description below with toyswonderland.com. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon, as well as the join button for more info on Justin's collection, plus if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.